All right, let's get started, right? We said yesterday was going to be the first day of changing our life, so let's get started. Daily Stoic. All right, today's day one, control and choice. The chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Where then do I look for good and evil? Not to uncontrollable externals, but within myself to the choices that are my own. Epictetus Discourses. All right, that's like the quote. Let's read this little paragraph, and I guess I'll just chat about it. The single most important practice in Stoic philosophy is differentiating between what we can change and what we can't, what we have influence over and what we do not. A flight is delayed because of the weather. No amount of yelling at an airline representative will end a storm. All right. No amount of wishing will make you taller or shorter or born in a different country. No matter how hard you try, you can't make someone like you. And on top of that, time spent hurling yourself at these immovable objects is time not spent on the things we can't. On my bad, I butchered the hell out of that. And on top of that, time spent hurling yourself at these immovable objects is time not spent on the things we can actually change. The recovery community practices something called the serenity prayer. So, the serenity prayer is: God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Addicts cannot change the abuse they suffered in childhood. They cannot undo the choices they have made or the hurt they have caused, but they can change the future through through the power they have in the present moment. As Epictetus said, they can control the choices they can make right now. And that's definitely true. We can't change the abuse and pain we suffered in the past, but within us we have the power to decide whether or not we listen to, I guess, our history and our memories, right? We can decide to say, hey, those things don't define me. Maybe it defined me up till this moment right now. And then we say, hey, I'm gonna let it go like a insect lets go of its exoskeleton, right? I'm gonna shed it. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna abandon it. It does not define me. Maybe it defined me up to this point in this moment right now until I don't know. I feel like I'm butchering the hell out of it. Anyways, the same is true for us today. If we can focus on making clear what parts of our day, not bad. The same is true for us today. If we can focus on making clear what parts of our day are within our control and what parts are not, we will not only be happier, we will have a distinct advantage over other people who fail to realize they are fighting an unwinnable battle. So, what do I have to say about this quote? So, this is the first day. The first thing I have to say is this is a lot easier said than done, because the first step is you kind of have to accept what it is. Most people are in denial or in a state of non-acceptance of what it is you know a good example would be music, right? I love making music, but no matter how hard I try, it still turns out terrible. You know what I mean? Like, it's not what I want. The only thing I can really control is showing up and practicing, but the pure output is not up to me. I can sit down and show up and try and learn, but whether I actually learn and my brain encodes that and actually makes it stick, it's out of my control, man. Like, I have been sitting down using Anki, using flashcards, and reading the same words over again, and it's just not sticking. You know what I mean? Like I can, that's what I can control. I could show up, do the flashcards, but whether it actually sticks, it's not up to me, man. It's not up to me. It's up to my brain and my genetics. The only thing I can do is show up every day and hope, pray to God that my brain actually encodes it. But yeah, that's one thing I have to say. Um, I think the serenity prayer is pretty cool. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Because it kind of sums up everything. Because a lot of this stuff is very coupled. Because one, you do have to accept the things you cannot change. And two, you need to have the courage to things you can change, You may not be able to change your looks, right? I mean, but there are certain things you can do. Like, for example, with me, I can sit down, I can groom myself. The other thing I can change is, and this is where courage comes in, is dieting, bro. At the end of the day, dieting is just painful. It's just pain, bro. That's the reason why a lot of people struggle. I mean, sure, a small minority might have medical reasons, but I think for the vast majority of humans, it's because one, most food, especially in America, is highly pleasurable. Like if you're having a bad day, man, you can have some cookies, you can have like a nice fatty greasy burger or some shit like that, and it's like a nice band-aid, right? Especially if you get high too and then you eat that, yummy, right? It's a good time. Like, I mean, bro, I could down a pint of ice cream myself. I can eat Oreo cereal, bro. Terrible for you, but bro, I love Oreo cereal. Oreo cereal, you just throw a bunch of Oreos in a bowl and pour milk over and eat it like cereal, bro. That shit's great. It's absolutely terrible for you. You know what I mean? Listen, I was stressing out yesterday because I actually looked at the calories. Bro, 2 Oreos are 110 calories, man. 2 Oreos are 110 calories. I was like, bro, what the fuck? 2 Oreos, 110 calories? That's crazy. But yeah, gotta have the courage to change the things that you can, and the wisdom to know the difference, because a lot of times we can be fighting, and then just realize like, oh, our approach was just sometimes we could be fighting, trying to change something, only to realize that, hey, like your framing was just wrong. Like sometimes we just don't know any better. Sometimes we just have unknowns, and we don't know. Like if you never really try, you know, mistakes are part of the process. You don't know what you don't know, and you have to make the mistakes, but you can't get caught up in the mistakes. Eventually, you just have to sit yourself down and say, I'm doing the same shit over again and nothing is working. Like if you're doing the same shit over and over again and nothing is working, or if you say a goal and you're not progressing, and you keep doing the same shit and you try harder and you're still not progressing, bro, you need to step back, evaluate, and change your approach. Because if you keep doing the same shit and the needle ain't moving, clearly, right, stop being so narrow-minded and say, hey, this process ain't working, or you thought it was this was the problem, but it turned out that actually wasn't the issue. A good example, let's say guitar. I'm learning guitar right now. I could sit my ass down and play this song that I wanted to learn on guitar, but my goal is not actually to play that song. My goal is to play guitar. So no matter how many songs I grind, right, and if my focus is only playing these songs, and I spent 3, 4, 5 years just grinding out, learning all the songs as possible, getting it precise, I wasted 5 years of my life because I didn't learn to play guitar. I just memorized songs on a guitar. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get me wrong. Like, I should have the work ethic. I could show up every day. I could grind and work so hard. But my dumbass, had the incorrect framing. You know what I mean? I just memorized. You know, I didn't learn. I just memorized finger placements, and I memorized songs. But if you ask me where everything is on the fretboard, if if like I sit down, can I really free play and make up my own songs? No. I just shuffle through, like, you know how like there's Spotify, shuffle through my catalog of memorized songs, and I just play them. You know, so that's kind of the thing. You kind of have to figure out what your intentions are, and then make sure you frame things correctly. Because otherwise, you know, you're just wasting your time. So I don't know. That's all I gotta say. That's control and choice from the Daily Stoic. I'll probably do this every day just because it's important. Bye.